you've got money.
I got money.
Disposable, fast cars, huge house.
Cars. Yep, all that.
All that.
Miserable
Anybody would love to have, but then you're miserable because...
Completely miserable.
Because why? Like, is there a rock bottom?
Because I can look in the mirror and know that I'm a loser, right? You go out and you're doing cocaine, you leave your wife at home, you leave your born baby at home. You're not taking care of things. You're not being faithful to your wife. You look in the mirror, you're a piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm never going to do it again. Any addicts out there, I'm never going to do it again. And then later that day, you're like doing it again. And so that's kind of the fight that I was going for. I knew I was this person, but I also knew I'm not that person anymore.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is the End-to-End Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Yun Win. And as you already know, my friends call me Ninja, so you can call me Ninja too. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the alpha to the omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, inspiration, entrepreneurship in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. This is a special episode, and I'll tell you why in just a moment, but I just want to remind you that as we are starting this podcast, I appreciate all the follows, the comments, the likes. We're 8, 9, 10 episodes in, so we're just launching and slowly getting our traction. But as with all of my other podcasts, including this one, if you find any value out of it, whether you liked it, you loved it, you found the inspiration out of it, please do like, comment, and share the podcast. And if you hate it, share it to your enemies. Either way, I'll take it. This is a special episode, and the reason it is one is because I have a very special guest that's joining me today. This is a friend, a brother from another mother. His name is Chad Pinkerton, very successful trial attorney in Houston. He's a colleague of mine. We work together sometimes. But more than that, he's a great human being. Started out in healthcare, turned into a trial attorney. Now he's an entrepreneur doing several things. And so without further ado, I'd like to welcome my boy, Chad Pinkerton, to the show. Welcome to the End-to-End Podcast, my
What's
man.
up, Ninja?
Hey.
I'm glad you said it was okay to call you Ninja. I didn't want anybody to make any comments.
It's good, man. It's good. Ninja's good. And just to remind you, man, we're audio and visual. So Chad is sitting to my right. Very established, distinguished-looking gentleman in a coat. A little overdressed for this occasion, but I'll take it. Anyway, Chad, it's great to have you on the show, brother.
Good to be here, man.
I know we've done a lot of things together, and you've done a lot of things on your own. But in terms of your background, man, just kind of let the audience know where you grew up, how you grew up.
Yeah, sure.
Things that got you into a position to where you found success and what you're doing today.
Yeah, I grew up in Dallas, Texas. I was kind of a lower middle class kid. I went to Lake Highlands High School. I played basketball there. Youth years were full of sports, mainly basketball. And that was my focus. And then went to college at Texas Tech, and I got my education degree, my bachelor's degree in education. I was all set to go back and be the high school basketball coach at Lake Highlands.
Okay.
A lot of times in life, I regret not just going and being a basketball coach.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that's my passion. But,
yeah.
Then I went to physical therapy school, and I practiced as a therapist for a few years, but there was this just desire to be a lawyer. I was that guy that was reading lawyer books, watching lawyer shows, but just terrified of taking the test, the LSAT, to get into law school. Finally did it. It was a breeze. Got into law school, and kind of that's how that path started to the legal side of things.
Very cool, man. So that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. So let's rewind a little bit.
Hey, man, you said tell the brief story. I gave you something, right?
No, that's good. That's good. So for our audience, let's roll back. So Dallas, Texas, middle income family. What did your parents do for a living?
My dad was an architect. My mom was in sales.
Okay, what did she sell?
She sold floor covering. She sold like hardwood floors and then carpeting. So she was out driving around all day. Me and my dad built a thing in the back of the minivan to hold all of her carpet samples so she could drive around and sell carpet. And man, my mom could hustle. My mom was a hustler. She would take these territories that weren't making any money and sell the hell out of it.
Okay, so that's an interesting that I didn't know about your background, bro, because we're talking probably 60s and 70s, 80s.
It was in the 80s when she was doing that.
Okay, so women weren't fully, at that time, societal-wise, women weren't fully integrated into the business world yet.
Well, I
so
would
for
say,
her to go out and be sales and hustling and business development, that's kind of a leap.
My mom graduated high school, never went to college. She says she basically took a lot of my dad's college classes while he was working on stuff, because my dad, I think he wanted to be an architect, but he didn't want to do English and all that other stuff. So she did some of those classes for him on the side. So she says she has some college background. No technical college background. And then she was a secretary at a place called LD Brinkman. And she was the secretary for the boss. And she'd been a secretary for years. No experience whatsoever in sales. And then a sales position opened up. And my mom went into the boss and said, I want that position. And he said, Sue, look, you've been here for years. You've been dedicated. You're not qualified. But because you asked, I'm going to give you a shot. And within 2 years, she was the top salesman at LD Brinkman in Texas.
That's crazy.
Ultimately, she became the top salesman at LD Brinkman. And then it sold. The company sold multiple times. But yeah, she was a badass.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And so for our audience, I mean, there's a key lesson here, and this is what I tell friends and my family all the time. From that is, if you don't ask, you're never going to get. Don't ask, don't get. In this case, your mom just asked for the job.
She didn't have a resume.
Nothing.
She didn't know anything about the position other than it required her to drive around and sell floor covering. She didn't know anything about the floor covering. She didn't know anything about the customers.
That's crazy.
She just said, you know what? I don't want to be a secretary anymore, and I want this other job that might pay me more. It was all commission-based. There was no salary.
So no safety net, no security,
safety net,
no nothing.
You know, I mean, that's one thing that I admire about my mom. One thing is she asked for the job, and she got it, and then she proved her worth. But the other thing is she was willing to take a risk. Right? She was willing to say, you know what, I believe I can do this. And even though I got a lot of people telling me that I shouldn't and I can't, I'm going to go do it despite all of that criticism. And she did it. And sometimes you just got to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, people are always going to try to tell you what you can't do or what you shouldn't do. But in your heart, you got to believe that you can do it all. And you can do everything.
Yeah.
And my mom was that type of person. She's still that type of person. So, but
that's
she
amazing,
is a very confident person that's willing to work hard, and she will surprise you at the amount of risk that she's willing to take. And in business and in life, you got to be willing to expose yourself to a little risk if you're going to be successful.
Yeah. Good,
Otherwise, you're always sitting on the sideline waiting for somebody else to do something for you.
Yeah. And you know what happens to those folks?
Yeah, they sit on the sidelines.
Sit on the sidelines, right? You got to be in the game to win the game, right? That's an amazing testimony, bro. And so I'm sure you picked up on a lot of that.
I did.
Growing up, which kind of leads you to where you are today, but we'll get into that. So then you go off to Texas Tech, Red Raiders, thinking you're going to be a basketball coach.
Thinking I was going to be a basketball coach,
Okay.
That was the plan.
And so where did that original plan kind of not – is there a reason it didn't –
Okay, so let me tell you.
Yeah.
So my life as a young person was around sports. I had a learning disability. I was in special ed classes until the 5th grade. I had some negative kind of thoughts about myself. But when I found sports, and particularly basketball, I gained confidence. I had something that I was good at other than fighting and getting in trouble with teachers.
Yeah.
So I found something I was good at. So I latched onto that. And so eventually, when I got to my high school years, it came down to, do you want to be quarterback of the football team or you want to be on varsity basketball? And I wanted to play basketball. So I followed that dream. And when you have something, you don't want to let go of it, right?
Right.
And so when I went to college, the idea was, look, I got something I love. And my dad told me a very important thing. He says, look, whatever you do in life, do something you love. Because if you don't do something you love, it's always going to be a job. But if you love it, it's not going to be a job. It's going to be a passion. It's going to be a life experience. So I chose to go into basketball, and I was going to be a basketball coach because I loved it and I understood it, and it was something I'd always been good at when I hadn't been good at a lot of things. When I got into college and I started taking classes, what I did was I wasn't playing sports anymore, but I decided to compete in the classroom, right?
Okay.
I decided for the first time in my life, I was an A-B student. I wasn't like failing out or anything. My parents wouldn't allow that, but I was an A-B student. And then I decided, you know what, I'm going to compete in the classroom. And when I did that, the light came on. I was like, you know what, if you work hard at this and you actually read the material that the professor assigns and you study for tests, you can do pretty good.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting on the dean's list and getting mostly A's. I graduated magna cum laude in undergrad. But that process led me to the ideas, maybe I could do something else. Maybe I can do more. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a basketball coach. I almost said just a basketball coach, but I don't mean that, because I think coaching and coaches are really important to kids.
Oh,
and
huge,
I had
huge
so
influence.
many that inspired me, that I remember elevated me to get me to where I am today.
Yeah.
So I would never take anything away from that. But in the back of my mind, I wanted to be a business person. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to own my own business. That's the way I always thought of myself. But for a long time, I didn't think I was capable. But when I started competing in the classroom and doing as well as smart dudes like you, I was like, you know what? I can do something. I can do something more. So that's kind of the process that changed.
Yeah, well, that's pretty incredible, because you're going from 5th grade learning disability all of a sudden to very successful college educated career.
I always say 3rd grade was the best 2 years of my life.
Yeah.
I had to do it twice. And then 4th and 5th grade wasn't too much fun because I was in special ed classes.
Yeah.
My buddies were all the smart kids.
Yeah.
I had some buddies that I hung out with in elementary school, and they had these classes for the smart kids, you know, the
Gifted and talented.
Gifted and
Yeah,
talented.
yeah, that was me, bro. Sorry, no offense.
My school wasn't particularly smart about how they did this, right? So they would take the special ed kids, they called it resource, and we would line up. There'd be like 3 of us, and we'd walk down a hall, and then they'd also have the gifted and talented kids. There'd be like 12 of those kids, right?
Yeah.
All the smart kids and all my buddies.
Yeah.
And they'd walk down the hall side by side. Well, the smart kids would go to the right, and us that were going to special ed, we go to the left.
Yeah, oh man.
And it was like, oh, this is no good.
Wow,
right?
that's crazy. That's pretty a dramatic
Yeah, it had an
experience,
effect.
right?
No, it had
In
an
the
effect
3rd,
on me.
4th, 5th grade, you're like, bro, like, why can't I go that way? Why am I forced to go this way?
And I remember as a kid thinking about that. I was like, man, I want to go that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to go down here.
Yeah.
But I loved my special ed teacher, Miss Boaz.
Yeah.
She changed my life. She saved my life.
Yeah.
Okay. She helped me learn how to read better and spell and get out of those classes and get out of that stigma into the regular classroom. And that's what changed my life in the middle of the 5th grade when I finally got out.
Interesting. So you mentioned before you found some competitive spark in college because you felt like you could compete educational-wise. But going back, there's 2 parts to that I want to unpack. Is in your elementary school experience, was it the feeling of being inferior that sparked the competitiveness, or is competitiveness something you are just born with? I mean, there's this debate, right?
I don't know if you're born with it, but here's what happened. Yes, I felt inferior to my classmates at all the time, kind of in that early stages, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th,
developmental
5th grade.
Yeah.
I had that feeling, right? And that feeling was fairly constant. For me, what that turned into was anger and frustration. So I was getting in a lot of fights and getting in trouble. And I think my teachers saw a good kid, but they also saw a kid that was causing some problems.
Right.
And so I had that outlet. It was when I first started playing competitive sports, and really basketball. I played soccer, but I never loved it. I was good at it. But
it's a lot of running, man.
Yeah, but I just never loved it, right?
Yeah.
But when I picked up a basketball in the 5th grade, that's what flipped the switch. That flipped the switch to me is, man, I could be good at something. And I wanted to be good at something. And I was watching Barkley and Bird and Jordan and all these dudes that I admired, and I loved the Mavericks at the time, and Mark Aguirre and Rolando Blackman.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like those guys. And I practiced and I worked hard. So that clicked on 2 things. One, I wanted something, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was willing to work hard at it. And then when we got in the game, I was good at it. I was beating dudes. I mean, our little school, Aiken Elementary, had a school team. Well, they didn't want me, right? They already had their team.
Yeah, right.
But then this other coach, he developed another team with all the scraps. We were the scrap heap.
Yeah.
And a couple of good players on that scrap heap. A kid named Jermaine that ultimately played college football. Great athlete. We were on the same team. And within 2 years, we were dogging out that first team, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wanted us after the first year because we were good.
Yeah.
And you got that in your body, and you're like, you know what? I can compete, and I can beat these guys. So at first, I was like a little bit of that revenge factor. Like, I'm getting back.
Yeah.
I may not beating you in the classroom, but I'm about to get back at you on this basketball court.
Yeah.
I'm about to get back.
Yeah.
And that just kind of started the process of opening up my mind that I could be, and I think is a key, is be successful, right?
Yeah.
If you get feedback in life that you can be successful, usually you can find it if you're willing to work hard enough for it, right?
Yeah.
And you're willing to struggle to get it. Because everything that I've ever had or gotten out of life, I've had to work hard, and it's been a struggle. Nothing's come easy.
Yeah.
And I wish it was easier sometimes.
No,
I'm serious. Sometimes I wish it was easier, but I wouldn't trade it for anything now that I'm 50 years old almost, right? Because I've got all this background and this experience that I feel like there's nothing really the world can throw at me that I can't handle.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah. That you bring up excellent points there. And part of this podcast is to convey, and you're a very successful guy. And I kind of shortchanged Chad in the intro because this guy, billions of dollars worth of litigation cases settled and tried. Part of the MGM $800 million settlement from the shooting, the unfortunate tragic shooting a few years back. So this guy is a very accomplished gentleman. So I kind of shortchanged you, but and I apologize for that.
No, you oversold it already.
But to the point is that success requires that struggle. I think it just has to happen because each time you're failing or struggling or you're enduring, you're just cementing what your baseline is, what you can handle to get you to the next level, to get you to the next. Like you're just solidifying that foundation every step up along the way, right? So
I truly believe that the struggle is what galvanizes you as a person, as a father, as a husband, as a business owner. You got to struggle because you've got to know that the next thing that's in front of you, you can conquer it.
Yeah.
And you can't conquer the world all at once, bro. Just impossible.
No.
You got to take baby steps.
Yeah.
And you got to be willing to go through that struggle.
Yeah.
And now that I'm an old fat guy now. Now I get it.
Not too fat, man.
Now I used to be like, I don't want to struggle. I wish this was easier.
Yeah.
But God blessed me with the idea that, look, I'm going to put you through some stuff, and you're going to struggle some, and it's going to be tough along the way.
Yeah.
But when you get done with this, I promise you, you're going to be a man's man.
Yeah.
You're gonna be ready for whatever you need. And I feel like I'm not there. I'm not a finished product, but I feel like I'm grateful and I have a lot of gratitude for the struggle that I've been through in life.
Yeah. As some of
Too many people are afraid to struggle these days, bro.
Well, that's the thing.
Everybody's afraid to have a difficult, hard struggle.
They want the easy, fast money, easy, fast life.
But then the same people will go to a movie and want to hear about the comeback story. They don't understand the comeback story is about the struggle.
Yes,
right?
yes.
They don't want to struggle themselves. It's okay to watch somebody else.
Well, that's what makes these Greek tragedies or the stories, the movies, the novels, the great memorable ones.
Yeah.
Like just masterpieces because it's the hero's journey You
I
have
believe
to
that.
you have to go through the struggle to ultimately become that hero.
Well, don't you want to tell a great story?
That's the thing.
I mean, your
That's the
life
thing.
should be a story.
Yes.
Now, you can have a very bland, plain,
I kept it
mediocre
safe.
life, did all the safe things, took no risk, sat on the sideline, or you can go for it, get in the fight, and struggle, and have a great story.
Yeah.
No matter how that one turns out, it's still going to be a great story. It's not about being a billionaire
No,
or
not at all.
or the amount of money that you can put in a bank account. That has nothing to do with it.
No.
What has everything to do with it is, what did you do with your life? What kind of impact did you have on your friends and families? Were you able to do something for your community? You know,
Yeah.
Did you keep a relationship with God? For me, that's important.
Yeah, huge
So,
important.
so I mean, you got to be able to have a great story. To do that, you got to get in the fight and struggle.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
And my audience knows this, and those close to me, I'm kind of a metaphysical guy.
I don't even know what that means, brother. You're going to have to either spell it or define
Metaphysical.
it.
Religious and spiritual, but understanding that there are laws and just kind of metaphysical things that govern our lives, society, that we may not know much about. And what I mean by saying that is, I believe in my heart that sometimes you're forced to struggle because the universe or whatever you believe in, I believe in God, is testing you to see how bad you really want it.
Do you really want
Do
it?
you really want what you're asking for?
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people who have self-doubt, and if you haven't listened to my podcast on doubt, get to it, but have that self-doubt where they fall short. I don't think I want to work hard enough, or I don't think I deserve it, or they have this imposter syndrome. I didn't get here by myself, and so the universe or God or whoever you believe in, I'm open-minded like that, is just testing you, is saying, hey, I'm putting it there for you, but it's not free.
How bad do you want it?
How bad do you want it?
And are you willing to earn it?
That's it.
I mean, you got to earn it.
You got to earn it.
And earning it doesn't start with having enough money to start a business. To me, earning it means, do you have courage?
Yeah.
Do you have strength?
Yeah.
Are you willing to take risk?
Yeah.
Can you depend on yourself?
Yeah.
You know, you got to be a self-starter in life. Nobody's out here trying to do a bunch for other people, right?
No.
So you've got to depend on yourself. And that's the kind of character that you've got to build in yourself over time through struggles and tragedies and difficulties and setbacks. So when that opportunity comes, you're ready. Right?
Yes.
So a lot of things happened to me in my life. But when I got to an opportunity in life to be a good lawyer, you know, I was almost ready. I wasn't all the way ready, but I was ready enough. And then when I went through my struggles with sobriety, and I got through that, then I was ready.
Yeah.
And
okay, you jumping way ahead.
I'm
dog.
sorry, brother. I'm
You're
sorry. Hey, man,
I'm excited.
yo.
No, this is way exceeded anything I thought we were going to get to today. But I mean,
This is
crazy.
deep.
It's deep. I love it, bro. I love it. It's good stuff, bro.
I like
love
that,
it. So we'll get to that,
All right,
because that's
all
a
right.
huge message for the audience. Man, so then you get into physical therapy instead of coaching.
Yep.
Because you felt you could do more than a coach. And let me just say, coaching to all my coaches out there in basketball or whatever sport it is so integral for the youth and the confidence in our culture in the United States.
100%.
Because other than your parents at a very young age, it's hard to channel that energy and learn the values that's required to be successul. As my podcast audience knows, I believe that sports is an analogy for life.
I agree.
The values you learn in sports can apply to be a successful human being, a successful contributing person to society and your community. But that being said, you passed up on the coaching opportunity, became a physical therapist. Just briefly talk to me about that kind of experience.
So while I was getting my degree in education, I was also getting my degree to go into healthcare. And I was just waiting to make the decision. I chose physical therapy. You wanted me to be honest?
Yeah, be honest, man.
I chose physical therapy because you didn't have to take a test at that time to get into PT school. You didn't take the GRE. You didn't have
Nothing,
to
you
take
just
the
applied
MCAT.
and got
there was
it.
no LSAT because I didn't do well on standardized tests, man. Look, man, to this day, I read really slowly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but if I read it once, I got it,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
I don't have to read things 2 and 3 times. But it takes me a long time. If I'm taking a standardized test, I've never finished one in my life.
Yeah, it's 150 questions in 30 minutes, whatever
I
it is.
can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't get done.
Yeah.
So I'm competing against finishing 80% of the test and then guessing the rest of the way. So I didn't want to take that test. I had all these good grades. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to go into med school like you did
Yeah.
because I didn't have the sack for it at the
Yeah.
time, right? I
Right.
didn't have the courage. So I went into physical therapy school, got in, and loved it, man, just loved it. And then I got out, and it really wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more challenging.
Yeah, exactly. What did you think going in, and what happened?
Well, man,
coming
I
out?
had dreams of being the physical therapist for the Mavericks or the Texas Rangers or do something really cool like that. And when I got out, I was in outpatient care, which had a lot of orthopedic sports type injuries, but it became very bland. I was doing the same thing every day, all day. It became not that exciting. So I got a specialty in wrist and shoulders and elbows. And then I started a company with 2 doctors, and then that was exciting. But then that got bland and boring. And in the back of the mind is always like, I want to do more. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a lawyer.
Was there any spark or any what was it about lawyering or the law? Like no lawyers in your family?
No lawyers in my family, but I was dating a girl that went to law school while I was in PT school, and then she was a lawyer, and I was always looking at her like, man, I wish I was a lawyer. I could do that. And she would tell me what she did at work, and I'd be like, man, that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
And she did criminal stuff.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's not the way I went, but I was this desire for a long time. Look, all right, you want to know why I wanted to be a lawyer?
Talk to me, bro.
Okay.
Talk to me.
So in high school, into my senior year, I got in a big fight. I'm not going to give you any big gory details, but it was bad.
Fist fight.
Yeah, fist fight. And a guy got hurt. And
It wasn't you, obviously.
I did the hurting.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and he ended up suing me and pressing charges. And we hired this lawyer. Now, my parents had not a lot of money, but my friend that was kind of involved in our altercation, his parents had more money, so they hired this lawyer named Steve Cooper. Now, he wasn't big time at the time, but he defended the case, and we won the civil trial, and I watched him work, and I watched him work the jury, and the whole time I was in awe.
So this went to trial.
This went to trial. I was 19, 20 years old. Finally, when it gets to trial, right?
Yeah.
And we win. We win because I was trying to defend a girl.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get this guy to leave a house, and he wouldn't leave. I gave him every opportunity. He was bigger than me. I think he thought he was going to whip me, and that's just not the way the thing shook out for him, right?
Right.
And then he didn't like the way the fight ended, and he got hurt. So there we go. So
You're defended
I ended
at
up
19.
going to college with this looming thing of felony charges, criminal mischief, assault, and then this civil trial that he's wanting millions of dollars. But we poured him out in the civil trial. He got nothing, and we won.
Yeah.
But I watched this lawyer work, and I mean, it's admiration, but it's also like, look, that's my protector. That's the dude that stood up for me and won this trial. And I want to be that dude. Like, my instinct is to protect and be a protector.
Yeah.
And be a supporter, and I wanted that. Now, I didn't think I was ever going to be capable of doing it, like smart enough. I mean,
You're 19.
Well, I'm 19. I'm going to college, and I didn't know if I was good enough to do that, right?
Yeah.
See, that inferior complex was still in my mind from a kid.
Yeah.
But when I got older and I had more success, and finally when I'm 26, 27, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this LSAT. I'm going to see if I can get into law school. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
And I got in, and I applied to colleges, and I ultimately went to law school.
Okay, that's again, I'm learning a lot of things I didn't know about you before, bro.
I don't share all this stuff,
That's
man.
good, though, man. I appreciate it. And I'm sure our audience appreciates it, too. So that, I'm going to say, go from making good, decent money as a PT, owning your businesses, doctors, and all that, to, man, I'm gonna walk away from that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take this LSAT and see if I can get into law school.
Do you want it?
Not knowing how you're gonna perform in the exam, knowing you can't take these standardized tests. Did you have to hype yourself up? Did you like talk yourself in the mirror, like, dude, I can do this, I can do it? Like, what is that? What is going on in your head to say?
I did the one thing that I've always been pretty good at, and I give this to my dad. My dad's a very hard worker. He's a guy get up at 4:30 in the morning and work till 8 o'clock at night. And I watched that my entire life. And when you watch a man work for everything that he gets in life and struggle for his family, you can't. It rubs off on you.
Yes.
I mean, I'm watching this, right? I know when he leaves for work because I hear him get up and the dogs bark and everything else. And I know when he comes home because I'm already watching TV, right?
Right.
And so that's a dude that worked hard. So I did the one thing that I knew I could do was what I could work hard. And so I started studying the LSAT. I couldn't afford that, Princeton review or anything. So I bought the books. I was taking the test and grading
Practice
it myself
test,
and all that stuff, right? Finally, I scratched up enough money and got the Princeton review, and I did that. That helped a lot. But I just worked hard at it. And the thing about working hard at it and getting better at something, you build confidence. And by the time I got to that test, now I can promise you, I did more tests and worked harder than that than any of those other people in that room that day.
Yeah.
I mean, I scored pretty good on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably overstudied. You know, you only have to do so well to get in.
Right.
But I probably overstudied. But when I walked in that door after putting in those hours, I knew I was ready.
You locked.
Whatever I get, that's what it's going to be because I've earned every
single point.
Every single point on that I've earned because I've worked at it.
Right.
And if you work hard at stuff, it's going to give you confidence.
Did you have any doubt, or you just like, I knew my stuff, I'm going in?
I had doubt. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I mean, I was nervous.
But you did it anyways. Nervous and doubt aren't the same thing, right?
Yeah, I was nervous. I was nervous that I wasn't going to do well enough to follow my dream. I had doubt in that I've never done well on one of those tests in my life, and this is going to have to be the first one.
Yeah.
And
but there was no doubt in your preparation, though.
There was no doubt in the preparation. I knew I was as prepared as I could be, right?
Okay. And so that's a lesson here, because I believe that there's no way you can predict an outcome. The outcome is going to be what it is. What you can predict is a probable outcome based on your preparation.
100%.
The harder you prepare, the more confident you are in what the outcome could be. Failure is always an option. Yeah. But it's all in the preparation. The process is what it's about. The result will be what the result is.
Well, if you're afraid to fail, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, you're not even going to prepare.
You even if you prepare, but you're still afraid to fail, you're not going to go put your best foot forward.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to say I've never been afraid in my life, but and that fear of failure has been a driving factor in my life. I've worked hard because I was so afraid to fail that I overwork and outwork people.
Yeah.
So there's a good side and a bad side of that fear of failure. The only thing I would say is you can't let it keep you from going for it, right? Take the risk and go for it.
Right. Love it.
Everybody was saying, what are you doing, man? You got this business, these 2 doctors. Yeah. Your clinics are full. You're great. Everybody loves you. You're making good money. One day you could have 5, 6, 10 of these clinics. But I was like, this is not what I want to do. What I want to do is I want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And to be a lawyer, I got to take the LSAT and go to law school.
Yeah.
And it was worth it to me to just say, okay, I'm gonna take that chance, and if I get in, that's what I'm doing. I'm walking away from all of this.
Man, that's crazy. So, man, there's a lot of deep stuff here, man, because I'll share a similarity is that growing up for myself, my family were refugees from the Vietnam War, and growing up, 4 boys, my parents had nothing.
Right.
But they started their own business, and I would watch them crack of dawn, 3 a.m., work until whatever, 10 p.m.,
That's right.
Trading off, mom and dad, sleeping at the print shop, sleeping on floors. I mean, brushing teeth with your fingers because you had no toothbrush, but you had to, kind of feel good.
Right.
But just watching that, I think we both took the same lessons away, which is hard work can always make up and exceed any deficiencies you think you have.
Yeah,
That's
I agree
holding
with
you
that.
back mentally, right? A learning disability or whatever, a handicap, a certain social economic upbringing, you're poor, no resources, whatever. But just being willing to put in that hard work can overcome a lot of that on the road to success. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, that's 100% true, right?
Yeah.
I say this: hard work, dedication, and the willingness to be bold will always surpass talent.
Oh,
You
that's
can
100%.
always catch
That's 100%,
talent.
yeah.
I mean, I'm working with my son all the time in basketball. He's a basketball player. He's really, really good. Not as good as your kid, but he's really, really good.
Yeah.
He's a little baller. He's
Yeah.
a shooter. But he's not the most gifted athlete right now. He's growing as an athlete. But what I tell him is like, look, man, you keep working. These guys that are really talented, you're going to catch them. And when you catch them, you're going to pass them because they're not used to working for it.
That's right.
And
That's
the guys that work for it, those are the guys that
know how to
ultimately
dig deep.
succeed.
They know how to dig deep. They know how to go where talent mentally does not know where to go, or even internally. So here we are. You're starting law school, but here's the thing: is that you're leaving a world of comfort.
Left it all.
You got money. It's coming in.
I didn't have much
well, you don't have
money.
money, not money, but you have a business that has potential to grow.
I walked away from all the interest in that business. Nothing. I got not a nickel, other than my salary until the day I stopped working.
So was it a
I had a percentage of the company with these doctors.
Yeah.
And we were making money, and we had stockpiled some money. But they were none too happy when out of the blue I'm leaving.
Yeah, but you have all this equity built in. I mean, you have what people would say is like, I mean, in essence, the American dream. You have your own business, making money, successful, licensed PT, clinics.
Doing well.
Okay, so my question would be, was it, I'm willing to give this up to chase my dreams? Or was it, I have so much confidence in myself that I can do whatever the hell I want to do and still be successful? Or was it a combination? Like, what is that thought? Like, I'm going to give up comfort to go after something I really don't know what the outcome's going to be, which is a huge step because the reason I'm asking is you have a lot of people in these days working a 9-to-5 job.
Right.
Kind of like your mom.
By the way, nothing wrong with that, right?
Nothing wrong with that.
If you're willing to
Absolutely
work
nothing wrong.
hard
Yeah.
and earn a wage, good for you.
A lot of
man.
wealthy people making doing it. They call it an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You're entrepreneurial, but in a company, 9-to-5. But you have a lot of people that are like, man, I'm not willing to give up this security and comfort to go chase the unknown, my dreams and happiness.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking is like, what is that thought process to help people that might be in that situation where like, I might want to open my own business, but I got a 9-to-5 job paying me, I don't know, whatever, 50, 60, 70,000 a year. I can't make that leap.
I mean, for some people that might be a hard decision. It wasn't for me because I wanted to be a lawyer. That's what I thought my calling was in life. And
So you're passion driven.
I wanted to do it. And I was going to sacrifice whatever it took to get there, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I ended up kind of becoming a nerd in college. Like I enjoyed learning and reading and getting good grades, and that was a cool challenge for me.
Yeah.
So law school was just the next step in that process of getting where I wanted to be as a lawyer. So yeah, it wasn't hard for me. I mean, you think it would have been.
Yeah.
But when the doctors were like, hey, man, we're not going to give you your percentage and we're not going to,
You're like,
I was
okay.
like, it's fine. What do you want me to sign? I'm out and I'm going to law school. I hope y'all aren't mad. I'll help you get a replacement, but I'm done. Y'all should be happy. You're going to get to keep all the money and keep the whole business.
Yeah.
And get in somebody in here that's just an employee. So you get 100% of that equity. I don't think that's the way they saw it. I mean, doctors don't necessarily like lawyers. They probably thought I was going to go out and sue a bunch of doctors.
Yeah.
If the law was better, I would.
Well,
but
maybe,
then the
maybe,
law's
no.
bad, so I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
But, it was an easy decision. It was an easy decision. Now, everybody around me was like,
What the hell are you
my
doing,
parents
man?
were like,
What the hell?
How is this going to work out? Another 3 years of school? Dude, you're going to be 30 when you get out. We're not paying for this. And I was
Yeah.
like, don't worry about it. I'll get student loans. I'll I'll make it. But then when I got to law school, it mattered to me, right? So, I mean, I worked hard at it, and I studied hard at it, and I did everything I could to do well, and loved it. And first year, I was number one in class, ultimately graduated third in the class. But I worked hard for my stuff. I mean, I still struggled because their tests required a lot of reading.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've been to both, med school, law school. There's a lot of reading. If you want to get to that level, there's a ton of reading.
And I'm slow.
Slow reading.
I mean, I've got a disadvantage, but I'm gonna do the best with what I got.
Okay.
So,
so where'd you go to law school then?
U of H.
Okay. Alumni. Cool, man. I didn't know that either.
You didn't know it?
Nah, shit.
I knew you went to U of H.
I thought you were a UT guy.
Man, you don't look at anything on my bio, bro.
So okay, you're baby lawyer now.
I would never go to UT, by the way. Yeah. No offense to UT people out there, but I'm a Texas Tech guy. I'm a Red Raider.
Red Raider. Can't do it.
I mean, you stole our basketball coach and you beat the hell out of us in football. So if you're a UT fan, don't hate me, but just know I kind of hate you.
So those outside of Texas, there's obviously there's a lot of rivalry amongst the Texas schools. So we'll leave it at that. I went to a lot of the schools, so I can't bear grudges against a lot of them. So yeah, man. So you finish law school, you get licensed. What happens, man?
I had job offers from all the big law firms, but I wanted to get started, so I went to a boutique law firm, Ware, Snow, Fogel, and Jackson. Still really close with those guys over there. And during that time period, I figured out I wanted to be a plaintiff's lawyer. At Ware Snow, I did a lot of representing defendants, companies, and insurance companies.
Right.
And man, I'm always for the people, right?
Yeah.
And I'm for the guy that's trying to make it. I'm not for the big company, and I'm not for the big insurance company, and I'm not for the government winning.
Yeah.
I'm for the people.
Yeah.
And it just didn't feel right? It felt like I was working for the bad guys.
Yeah.
And I did some really good work for the bad guys.
Yeah.
And we had this case where this lady got her leg cut off. And
hold on to that thought.
Yeah.
So just for those people not familiar with the legal world, okay? There's plaintiff's lawyers, which represent the individuals or the injured party, and there's defense lawyers, which represent insurance companies or industrial companies where the accident may have occurred or the unfortunate situation may have occurred. So you got both sides of the aisle or the bar, you would say. So what Chad is referencing is that he started his career on the defense side.
That's right.
And let's just say this. I got to put two things out there, bro, just to cover our asses. Nothing wrong with defense lawyers. Nothing wrong.
There's something wrong. Come on, man.
We
know that. I thought this was an honesty deal. Why are you lying to your audience, man?
You're right.
There is something wrong. With most of them. Some of them good dudes. Most of them, no.
No, okay, got it. But then the second thing is I have to disclose that obviously I have a law firm too amongst my other business endeavors. We are both plaintiffs lawyers, so we're both on the same side, and I do have on occasion referred cases over to Chad, and we work together on those cases on behalf of the clients or the injured parties. But let me just say this. You felt bad, like kind of icky working for the bad guys, right? Like kind of this, you gotta like.
I felt bad from the beginning.
Yeah. Now talk about the case about the amputated leg.
Yeah. So me and a great lawyer, Don Jackson here in town. He's one of the best lawyers I know. And we recently just resolved a case where he was the defense lawyer and I was the plaintiff's lawyer. But at the time, we were defending it wasn't a Kroger store, but it was like a Kroger store. And you know what balusters are? Balusters are those poles that go up in front of stores so people don't drive into the store.
Yeah.
You see them at banks all the time.
Yeah.
Well,
the ones that come out of the ground?
Yeah, come out. No, they're like,
just there.
like the
yellow things.
Yeah, the yellow poles.
Okay,
you know what I'm talking about. All right, so this particular store didn't have any of those balusters. And a lady's walking in, and a guy is starting his van, and he thinks he's in reverse, and he's in drive, and he hits the gas, and he goes and he pins this lady against the wall, and she loses her leg. I mean, this is a lady that she was a maid. She had like 6 kids. And me and Don go in there, and I watched Don just eat the plaintiff's lawyer's lunch. And the jury loved Don. And I did some work on the case and research to throw out some of this evidence related to these balusters and the necessity to have balusters, mainly because the plaintiff's lawyer screwed up and didn't do it right.
Yeah.
So he didn't get a bunch of evidence in. And this lady got 0. And
Wow.
we went out after her, and Don's all happy because Don did a great job. He did his job for his client. He should be happy. But for me, I was like, damn, man, I wish that lady would have got.
Some
I
money,
didn't want my
something.
client to have to pay it, but now she's got no leg, 6 kids, and no job.
Yeah.
So I didn't sit well with me. So that was the instant that I was like, I'm going to go be a plaintiff's lawyer. So then I left Don's office, who I love to this day, love all those guys over there. And then I went and worked for a fella named Tony Busby down in Galveston.
Okay.
And that's how my plaintiff's lawyer career started.
Got it. Let's go back just a tad on that one. What I'm hearing, so what I'm hearing is really a deep-rooted sense of justice coming out of you.
On one side.
On one side, justice, right? But also for the fact it's sort of
I'm for the underdog. I'm
Yeah,
for
well,
the
that's
people.
what I was getting
I'm
to.
the protector.
Right.
I don't want to be on the side of the team that's supposed to win. I mean, it's the defendants and the insurance
got all
company
the
and
money in
all
the
that
world,
money.
all that money,
all
all
the
that
rules are in
firepower.
their favor.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on that side. I want to be on the side.
Okay, so that's what I was getting to is because is that a sense of is that a deep? This ain't no psychiatry thing or sit on my couch, bro. It's not like that. But is it because deep rooted since the 3rd grade, in essence, you were the underdog?
I was the underdog, and that's how I still see myself to this day as the underdog. And when I live in a nice neighborhood. I look around at these people. They're not really like me.
Yeah.
They look at me and they know I'm not like them.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like the poor kid that moved into the rich neighborhood, but still doesn't care. I am who I am.
Yeah.
I have loud cars, and I'm sure they don't like all my tattoos or whatever, but that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be true to myself. But growing up, I always felt like that underdog, and I always would stick up for kids and get in fights and
Protecting that lady that you got sued on.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna fight for the underdog.
That's just who I am.
Yeah, that's good though. But because then you found, which a lot of people try to find, and some are successful or not, but a career path that matched a deep desire.
Yeah.
Within you, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
A lot of people, you didn't go in for the money, even though you've made a lot of money.
I didn't.
You went in because of that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And you trusted that process, and the money, as you said earlier, is the byproduct of that.
You know why I'm good at this, man? Because it's never about the money. It is never about the money for me. It's about the win. It's about the victory. It's about protecting my client. It's about putting something aside for my client so my client has justice and some compensation for what they lost. It's never about the money. So the money comes easy. I'm not the guy sitting there trying to figure out what I earned. I figure if I do a good job and I bust ass and I go in there and I try to rip the throat out of the defendants, the money's going to come.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's always happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Same
ain't
mentality.
won every
Same mentality.
case. I know, but that's the way you got to be. These dudes that get in this business now that
thinking they're going to make them a lot of money, get
They're
that
gonna
one
be
case
rich.
and be a multimillionaire.
they want to buy planes and all this stuff. Okay, well, more power to you, and I wish you the best. But man,
That's not what
it
it's
doesn't
about.
feel very good when it's all about the money.
No, not at all. And I would say not just law, but any other vocation. When it's just about the money, it's got to be about more than that. Because money, in the end, once you have you could agree or disagree with it. Once you have it,
It ain't that great.
it ain't
right?
that great.
I mean, let's be honest. Listen,
It's
is
good to
great.
have it. It's good to have it.
Listen, it's great to an extent that you feel comfortable and you take care of your kids and your wife.
Yes.
You have a nice place to live, and you don't feel like you're on the street. Now, if you don't have that, you don't have money to support yourself. That's a real problem.
struggle.
That's a
Absolutely,
hard thing.
Absolutely.
But if you have enough and you feel comfortable, then
Doing it for the money's not going to get you out of bed.
any more money than that, it's not going to change my life.
Yeah,
right? It's
right.
not going to change what I do.
Yeah.
The way I live and the
Yeah.
way I see the world. So I'm comfortable. Now, all the defendants out there and all the carriers out there, you better keep paying because my clients need the money,
That's for both of us, by the way. Both of us.
especially me.
No, but
I got overhead.
Yeah, no, but so But my point is that once you get to a certain level, and this is by no means to demean the value of money to those people that really need it and the people struggling, especially after the COVID. But as you get to a point of comfort and you have it, I have found that the motivation, the drive, the willingness to suffer, to do right goes away if you're only driven by money. That something has to be greater. Your purpose has to be greater.
I couldn't agree
than
more.
money. Money is just kind of a measuring stick of your passion. But I'm saying, like,
It should be the result of your hard work and your dedication and your passion for whatever you're doing. If you are willing to do that and then you're in a fruitful business environment, the money's going to come.
yeah, good, man.
But
good.
look, if it doesn't come and you're happy and you're doing what you love and you're passionate about it,
What's wrong with
should
that? There's
be a
nothing
big
wrong.
deal?
Nothing
There's
wrong with
that.
That's actually what you want.
I mean, I can't. My parents came from a place called Headley, Texas, and I go out to Headley, Texas, little podunk town with a bunch of broke down farmers and ranchers, but those people are happy, and they don't have a lot of money, but they're doing and living the life that they love.
Yeah.
And you got to respect that,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
You look at them, and they're driving old beat up trucks, or always fixing up their tractors, or their houses may be falling apart. I'm not saying for all of them, but that ain't their life. Is about that town and the cattle they take care of and the fruit and vegetables they grow, and they're living their life.
Yeah.
And who cares that their bank account doesn't have millions of dollars in it?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And that's what everybody should try to look for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I got lucky.
Yeah.
I got in a business I loved and had a passion for, and
Well, I
good
wouldn't say
at
lucky,
it.
but because it was by.
It's a lot of luck, bro.
But it was like about grand design, though. You knew kind of a direction, but you didn't know how far it was going to take you.
Look, you
Right.
can change your luck.
Yeah.
You can get yourself more luck by working at it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I promise you, I've been lucky along the way.
Yeah.
Many,
I
many
have too,
times.
without question,
I've been
without
very, very fortunate along the way. But by hard work, you can change it. But what happened was I ended up in an environment, I was good at something where people would pay you a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's why I've had the
Okay.
financial success.
So let's talk about this. You're with Busby and Galveston.
Yep.
And then your plaintiff's career starts taking off. Let's talk about that.
Well, I'm working for Tony, and I'm handling Jones Act cases for workers offshore.
Got it.
Get hurt on a barge or a boat or something. And we're doing great, but I wanted more.
Yeah.
And-
So
and
talk to me just for the audience. You're coming out. You're now 34, 35-ish.
Yeah, I'm 33,
Yeah.
32, 33.
Yeah.
I'm 2
And
years in.
how much money you making? Generally speaking,
But Tony was paying me $100,000.
100 grand.
100,000.
But then-
and my goal in life before this, if I could ever make six figures, I've made it. I'm good with just pay
Okay.
me $100,000 and I'm good.
30-something years old, 100 grand, working for Busby,
Yeah.
and then
But I brought in $22 million in settlements for my cases that I worked on. Now, certainly Tony carried a lot of weight and did a lot of work. I'm not taking away from what he did, but what I saw was on my cases, I brought in a lot of money for the firm, and I was like, man, I can do this.
yeah,
What's to stop
Yeah.
me? And I'm old, dude. I'm 33 years old. I better get on the horse.
yeah.
So I left and started my own law firm.
Okay, good. Start your own law firm. Again, that's another leap of faith.
I'm 4 years in. Everybody's like, you're crazy.
You're crazy. You're 4
about
years
to
in. You don't know.
Ruin your career.
Really?
That's
like
what
that?
everybody. You're about to ruin your career. You left Where Snow. You left Tony. You're 4 years in, 4 years into your practice, and you're hanging your shingle. You're a moron.
No money, no savings. Little bit.
I had about 16,000 in the bank.
That was
That's
it.
what I had saved up.
You're gonna roll with that.
I'm gonna roll with
I'm
that.
gonna roll with 16K. Office
But
space.
listen, I did have a wife who was also a lawyer, Leanne.
Oh, okay. So you had
at
some
the time,
backup. You had
and-
some
and
backup.
she
Yeah.
was making good money, and
Okay,
she was
okay.
very supportive of it. She's about the only one was like, go for it. Do
Yeah.
it. That's what you want to do. Go for it.
Okay, good. So, hang your own shingle, and then your first big case is what?
BP 2005 explosion.
Wow. Okay, that made a career for a lot of attorneys.
Yeah, I was like a fourth-year lawyer out there hustling cases against the best attorneys in the world. I could only afford an ad about this big in the Galveston Daily News.
Okay, so what?
I didn't even have an office, man. I was officing out of my house.
Yeah.
I would go meet new clients at like the Whataburger or the McDonald's or or
No
the
conference
Dairy
room,
Queen.
nothing fancy.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I had a business card with my house address on it. Thank God nobody ever just showed
and,
up.
And
right?
for those that are listening through the audio, what Chad is measuring the dimensions of is basically a large postage stamp size ad.
Yeah.
In the Galveston Daily, whatever.
Tiny. An
Tiny.
inch by 2 inches, maybe.
Yeah. That says, Chad Pinkerton, lawyer. If you've been hurt, give me a buzz.
If you need help on the explosion, call this number.
Yeah.
And they call my cell phone. I go meet these people.
That's what it
And I
takes. Hustling.
signed up 80, 90 people.
Okay.
Ultimately settled. I can't disclose that.
Okay.
but Millions.
Millions.
Yeah.
Millions.
Millions.
Gambled on
millions.
yourself. Cashed in.
And cashed in.
That's good. And so then, boom, Pinkerton Law.
Yeah. I mean, I was a mess, though. I mean, that was the time that I was most struggling with addiction and alcoholism.
So yeah,
It seems like that should have been a time that was the greatest time
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah.
That it was horrible. It was horrible for my wife. It was horrible for my newborn baby. It's horrible for me.
Okay, talk about that, man. So you're out the gate, several seven-figure settlement out of this BP explosion.
Mm-hmm.
Your name's out there.
Yep.
You think your career's taken off.
Yeah, I'm good at it
What you
already.
good at? Yeah,
I'm good at
okay,
it. I'm
yeah.
a drunk and an addict, but I'm good at it.
Yeah. And so then, where does it come crashing down? Or how? No, you can share what you want to share, but I'm saying
so I don't mind sharing. I share it all the time, but I had always been an abuser of alcohol. I always drank, kind of changed the way I feel, but mainly to get girls, right? I could get girls if I was drunk. If I wasn't drunk, I couldn't get any girls. So I drank.
What's the difference, man?
Because I was too shy. I was too quiet. I had no confidence. I was
and
insecure.
for the audience, I've met Chad after he became sober, so I don't know what he was like.
It was a mess.
It was a mess.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have liked that, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
So all through kind of into high school, college, I'm drinking, but I'm abusing, right? And I managed it. I wasn't an alcoholic at that time, but at one point I developed in my mid-20s pancreatitis, and I thought I was going to die. They told me it's pancreatic cancer. They went in there. They said, "Oh, it's just really swollen. Do you drink much?" And I was like, "No, I mean, I don't drink that much." And they're like, "How much do you drink? How many days a week?" "Oh, 3 or 4 days a week." "Well, how much do you drink when you drink?" "I don't know, 12-pack, 18-pack." And they're like, "Dude, you need to stop drinking.
Yeah.
If you drink, you're going to kill yourself." So I quit cold turkey, went to law school, didn't drink until my 3rd year. Then I started drinking again.
3rd year after the job offer came in.
And yeah.
So I'm locked in. I'm going to make some money.
I was going through some stuff, and I started drinking, and I was okay. My pancreas was fine, so I'm okay. But then I was in the bathroom one day with some buddies, and I had never seen cocaine in my life. And my buddy did.
Still in law school, or you're out?
I mean, still in law school.
Okay.
And it's 3rd year, into 3rd year, and he pulls out a little bag and he does a bump. And I was like, "What is that?" He's like, "Dude, you know what that is." I was like, "No, I don't know what that is. What is that?" And he says, "That's cocaine." And I was like, "Give me a bump." He's like, "Oh, no. This ain't for you, man. You don't need this."
Yeah. Famous
And I
last
was
words, because as soon as somebody says you can't do this,
No,
what are you going to do?
And I was like, "Hey, I want it."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay, here you go." And so I did that first bump, and I remember the feeling to this day. It was like, and I said to my buddy, I was like, "This is what I've been looking for my entire life." And I was off to the races. I mean, I was a cokehead immediately. I mean, I couldn't get enough of it. But I managed. I was still a hard worker, right? I still get up at 5 in the morning. I still work late. And I do my job.
But it's an upper,
after
right?
that,
So, like, what is it? Is it masking anything? Sort of
dude,
like.
I don't know how to tell you how it's felt. If you've never done it, don't ever do it. It's the devil for dudes like us.
Yeah.
But it gives you that feeling of euphoric feeling and confidence, but it doesn't give you that drunk feeling like I'm out of control, right?
Yeah.
And you just kind of feel like a badass, right? And you feel good about yourself. That lasts for a little while, and then it just becomes a necessity, right?
Yeah.
That's what
That's the
happened to
addiction.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I quickly became an alcoholic along with a cocaine problem, and that brought me to the bottom really fast. It's the cocaine that did it, because I couldn't manage it and I couldn't control my life and my circumstances. And I'm thankful for it. I'll tell you right now, today, if I wouldn't have been introduced to cocaine, I would still be an alcoholic. I'd still be drinking like most of the people in my family because I can manage that. And everybody's kind of accepting of, yeah, you're kind of a mess. You kind of make an ass of yourself sometimes, but you're working hard and you're making money and everything's going to be okay, and people kind of ignore it. So I would still be drinking today and be a full-blown alcoholic today and probably living that difficult life, right? But cocaine took me to the bottom.
Was there a specific, okay, so BP clients, huge settlements, you've got money.
I got money.
Disposable, fast cars, huge
Plenty of
house.
cars. Yep, all that.
All that.
Miserable as
anybody would love to have, but then you're miserable because
completely miserable.
Because why? Like, is there a rock bottom?
Because I can look in the mirror and know that I'm a loser, right? You go out and you're doing cocaine, you leave your wife at home, you leave your born baby at home. You know, you're not taking care of things. You're not being faithful to your wife. You know, you look in the mirror, you know you're a piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm never gonna do it again. Any
But then
addicts out there, I'm never going to do it again. And then later that day, you're like doing it again. And so that's kind of the fight that I was going for. I knew I was this person, but I also knew I'm not that person anymore. I can be that person that's good and honorable and loving and caring and takes care of his family, is a good husband and a good father. But I wasn't that dude. I can admit that. And I was a piece of shit. And that hurt. That hurt to look at yourself and go, you know what, you're a piece of shit. It hurt so bad I was ready to end it, man. Millions in the bank account, cars, every car I'd ever wanted.
Lambos, Ferrari, whatever.
Badass house, everything. Great wife, kid. But I was ready to eat a bullet, man. I mean, I was
like
ready.
that depressed.
No, I was done. If I didn't get sober the last try in rehab, that was it.
So it was an addiction coupled with a depression. Was this a, you know, holy shit, this isn't who I am, or was it kind of a process of like, like over time you're like, this isn't me.
Generally,
this
for
isn't
an
me.
addict or an alcoholic to get sober, something bad has to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And mine was never legal or criminal, but my wife packed the bags out of our beautiful house, packed up my 7-month-old baby, left, and rented a place. And she was gone. Wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't communicate with me. Told my family he either goes to rehab or this marriage is over. And so I wanted the marriage to last, but I really wanted to see my kid.
Yeah.
And it hit home. And so I went to rehab for the last time. Only.
When you say last time, how many times did you go?
Four.
Did you go? 4 times.
4. But I wasn't going to go, but my mom begged me to go. And she wanted me to go to this particular place, La Hacienda. And I went. And it changed my life. I mean, you know, I got spiritually connected back to God and found ways to maintain sobriety. I had some good experience and built some confidence that I could stop doing that stuff. And I've been sober. It's coming up on 14 years.
Damn, bro! Congratulations, man.
Yeah.
Any that path, that initial, let's say, year of sobriety, was it tough? Did you feel like you were strong enough? Any inclination to revert? You know.
I tell you this: when I went to rehab the last time, what I told myself is, look, I'm going to do everything I can to be sober. I'm not going to do it my way. I'm going to do it their way. I'm going to listen to everybody, and I'm going to do the work, okay? That's what I told myself, and that's what I did. But what I also said is I'm going to lead a normal life. If I'm going to be sober, I'm not going to be one of these guys that depends on going to AA meetings and having sponsors all the time, and everything in my life is about being in recovery. I'm not going to have rules where I can't have alcohol in my house or can't go to parties or can't go to Las Vegas. Because a lot of times when people get sober, they decide they got to cut everything out and get in this little bitty box to stay sober. And all life is about is just being sober. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't live a life like that. You can't live a good life like that. So I decided, look, I'm going to do everything they say. I'm going to work really hard at it. But I'm going to work towards leading a normal life. Now, I can go to bars. I can have parties. I got alcohol
We've been
in
to
my
bars.
house.
We've been to restaurants.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want to drink again. I've got enough sobriety. It doesn't affect me. It wasn't always like that, but it doesn't affect me. Now, I would never be around cocaine Okay, now I don't know what would happen, but I don't trust myself. So I will never be around that product again. But as far as alcohol goes, have parties at my house, big ones.
Yeah.
You know, go to bars, go to Vegas, I gamble, all the things that I used to enjoy, like playing golf. I used to drink all the time. I still do that.
Yeah.
But I lead a normal life.
So is there a mental trigger, or how do you do that? Like, I've ordered a cocktail in front of you.
Yeah.
Is there a mental kind of a switch, or is it discipline?
At this point, it doesn't faze me.
Yeah.
But if it does, I'm not saying it doesn't always faze me. Here's the deal. What bothers me the most is when I see a dude that's drunk and out of control and it looks similar to what I used to look like or what I thought I used to. That will trigger me. And it won't trigger me to me like I want to drink, but it'll trigger me a little bit, make me uncomfortable. I'll leave the setting.
Right.
I'll just leave.
Walk away.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
If it bothers me, I leave. That's it. I just go get in my car and I leave. People are like, "Where'd you go?" I just went home.
Yeah.
No big deal. If I ever have a thought like, man, that would be nice to have a drink, I'll tell you what gets me is like a commercial with a cold beer with the frosty top.
Yeah.
And it looks
it's
so
by
perfect.
design, bro.
I know. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'll see that, and every once in a while I'll be like, damn, it'd be nice to have a beer. And I'll be like, wait, you can't have a beer.
Yeah.
And then I do a little prayer, give it to God, and I stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go away right then, I just do another prayer and go away. And I make sure that I don't let that little thought in my head grab any seeds, right?
Yeah.
I don't want it to get any roots.
Yeah.
So as soon as it gets in there, I get rid of it.
So is there a lot of self-talk?
Self-talk, prayer.
Have you always had that
meditation.
self-talk conversation?
I always talk in my head.
To yourself?
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm talking to myself and I'm talking out loud and people are like, something's wrong with this dude.
No. No, I found very successful people, very disciplined people have that self-talk.
You got to walk yourself through things, right?
Yeah, exactly. You got to find the path.
Yeah.
So, man, sober for 14 years. How has this sobriety journey affected your work, your family life, all this stuff?
Well, I mean, sobriety is people think I'm crazy when I say this, but it is the greatest accomplishment in my life. That includes everything: the business,
billions
the
of
money,
dollars, helping clients, all this stuff.
kids. And let me tell you why. Because I'm not a good husband. I'm not a good father. I'm not a good lawyer. I'm not a good human being without sobriety. So that is the foundation. It is the greatest accomplishment in my life that I was able to find and maintain sobriety while leading a very normal life. I'm so grateful for that. I worked hard for it, but it's the greatest accomplishment. And it changed my life. In sobriety, I figured out what real confidence is, and I figured out what real determination is. And I became that person I always felt like I was already, but it was that hurdle that brought me to my knees, to having a gun in my hand, ready to end it all.
Oh, it's like that. It went that deep.
Yeah, we went that deep, bro.
Wow, I didn't know
over.
that, bro.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
I was ready to be done. If my mom didn't call me at
You
1 o'clock
muzzle
in the
mouth?
morning.
Muzzle in the mouth?
Nah, I don't
Not
know
like
about
that?
all of that
Yeah,
details,
okay.
but I'll share that detail in my book.
Yeah.
Look, my book's coming.
There's
I want
more-
you to be
there's
able-
more to
I want
this.
you to be able to read the book.
Okay,
I want
okay.
to give everything away.
All right.
It's actually not my book. It's my wife's book. She wrote it about my sobriety journey. It's called Good Rabbit. Y'all read that. But anyways.
Not out yet? Or
not out yet.
Okay.
I'm
Hold on
editing.
then.
I'm editing.
Okay, good.
And she's like, hey, dude, you got to be done editing.
Okay.
I'm the
coming
writer.
soon. Coming soon to Amazon or Barnes and Nobles or a bookstore.
So back to
The
that
Good Rabbit.
is that gave me that hurdle, that challenge, everything leading up. I believe this. Maybe I'm weird, but I believe this, that God was giving me difficulties throughout my life, a lot of challenges for that one, and then it was make or break. I'm gonna have to prove myself.
Yeah.
I'm either gonna sink or I'm gonna swim.
Yeah.
And with my experiences and kind of my mentality and character, I was able to get off the mat. It wasn't easy and it wasn't pretty. And I had a lot of help, right? I had a lot of help along the way, but I was able to pull myself up.
Okay.
And that's
crazy, bro.
That's the
That's crazy, man.
that's the thing that I think is the most important moment in my life. 8/22/08.
The ultimate test, bro.
8/22/08 is the day I got sober.
That's the ultimate test.
It
man.
was.
Ultimate
For
test.
me, it was.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own thing, but that was it. That was the big moment in my life.
And just to clarify, you got divorced and remarried, so you're right.
Ultimately, after I got sober, me and Leanne, my ex-wife, did divorce. She's the mother of my children, but we have a great relationship.
Okay.
We don't have any problems. We're better friends now than we ever
Than the
were in our
drunk.
marriage. And ultimately, she ultimately wanted the divorce. But you got to understand what happens. I was sober, and everybody's like, "Oh, Chad, you're so great. Way to get sober. You're such a good guy." And my wife went through hell during 4 years of me just being a scumbag, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Really?
Yeah.
He's the great guy. What about me? I'm the one that put up with this mess, right? I've been through all this." And then, there was some cheating. I wasn't faithful.
Yeah.
And she knew about it.
Yeah.
And that's hard to get over. And ultimately, the romantic side of our relationship could not work.
Yeah.
And we ultimately divorced. But it was the best thing for us because we're good friends still. And it was the best thing for the kids because we're great co-parents. And that's sometimes the way life shakes out, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes things don't work out. So just like they say in sobriety and recovery, some relationships will last and some won't. And you got to be accepting of that. And that one didn't. That was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. But I'll say I never thought about drinking.
Yeah.
I never, during the divorce process, I didn't. When I wrote a big check.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't really say that. But, none of that affected me in my sobriety. I was ready.
Yeah.
And then
Was
I
part of it.
married, and I'm married to Jennifer, and I'm stepdad to Jordan and Jade, her 2 kids, and we have an amazing blended family, and my wife is incredible.
Yeah.
And she gets me, and you know how my wife is.
Yeah.
She gets me, and she knows how to handle me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a mess. I'm difficult. I mean,
well, you got a lot of things going on, which will lead to so wildly successful trial attorney, plaintiff's attorney. MGM cases. I don't want to get into that stuff too much. I've seen your settlements. I've seen you in action. We've worked cases together. Wildly successful. You said you're hitting on 50 soon. Is lawyering the end all be all to the sunset, or talk to me like what's around the horizon?
I don't think I could ever quit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in my blood. I like
It's
to
your
fight.
passion, bro.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
like
underdog.
to
It's
fight.
the underdog battle.
I want to do good. What I would see myself doing is backing off and not having so many cases and just take on the ones I really want to work on. That's kind of the phase I'm in mentally right now. When does that process start? But what I'm working on right now is good rabbit recovery. So what I've found is I was lucky and fortunate that I could afford to go to 4 rehabs, but that was a lot of money. And a lot of those rehabs are just bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. But ultimately I got to a good one, was able to get sober. But what I want to do is help people have affordable access to care. Because if you give people a chance, right, if they can just get enough sobriety and enough confidence and a little bit of a foundation, then maybe they can get off the drugs and alcohol. So that's my next big project. I'm working on an online recovery venture that's affordable for everybody. There's going to be a part of it for people that are involved in criminal acts that need to go to, courts will tell you to go to drug court, or you have to do certain
some type of
things.
rehabilitation program. Yeah,
but I want to give them something real, right? I
Right.
want to give them something that can give them a foundation. They can stop the real problem. The root of their problem is drinking or drugs. And then veterans, it's a big issue with me. I want to be able to help veterans because, veterans in our country struggle at times. Some of it's the psychological issues, but that often leads to drug and alcohol abuse or addiction. And those people get very little care
little
to
attention.
none.
Yeah.
And so I want to give something to them to give them a shot at building their own foundation. Now, look, I can't do the work for them, and I can talk about my experience, and I can give them a path, and it worked for me, and it's worked for other people. but they're going to have to do their own work. But
Yeah.
I want to give them a shot.
You're giving them a resource.
Yeah, at an affordable
Yeah.
price.
So what is this called again?
Good Rabbit Recovery.
Good Rabbit Recovery. It's going to be an app online.
Online app. We're working on developing the app and the website. Don't get me into trying to talk technical stuff. I don't know the difference between a website and an app. It all comes up on my phone.
Yeah.
It's going to come up on your phone somehow.
And so when can people that would need the Good Rabbit Recovery be able to find this?
3 to 4 months, I'm going to launch it. We're about halfway through the process of building the website.
Very cool, man. So for those listening, the Good Rabbit Recovery.
Just called goodrabbit.com.
And then the book is coming out when?
About the same period.
Okay.
The book will come out. My wife says the book comes out
as soon as
before you get to start your business. So,
okay, good.
So she says the book has to come out first because she authored it, right?
Yeah.
She wants it out there.
And for the audience, your wife, Jennifer, what is her background?
She's a psychotherapist now, and she
Okay.
has her own Pinkerton psychotherapy, and she's the amazing one, right?
Yeah.
My wife is the amazing one. She's beautiful. She's a great mom. She's super, super smart. But the weirdest thing, she's the kindest, nicest person you'll ever meet, right?
Yeah.
She's always down to help people, and she's a great therapist. And she started her new business, and it's taken off, and she's doing well, and she's always authored some books and stuff. And so this is her first big publication, and she's ready to roll.
Very cool. And what better topic than her husband, man? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So the Good Rabbit book coming out as soon as you finish editing, man.
As soon as I start editing.
If the audience wants to find you, how do they find you?
ChadPinkerton.com.
Chad Pinkerton, Pinkerton Law, or ChadPinkerton.com?
It's ChadPinkerton.com. That's my law firm website.
Okay. Yep. Man.
But I ain't here to get business, bro.
No,
I
of
just
course,
talk
bro. But you know,
about
hey, you
stuff.
shared a fabulous.
If y'all need a lawyer, go see Ninja. Okay, he talks me up because he has to have a good guess.
No,
but he's the guy.
No.
Go to him. The doctor, lawyer, Ninja's the guy. You go see him.
That's why we get along, bro. Man, anything you want to leave with the audience, dude? This has been such an amazing conversation, man. A lot of
man, it went by
last
fast.
thoughts. It went by very fast. But last thoughts or anything you want to talk about, man?
Last thoughts. I'll just say this: is look, I've learned to accept, love, and invite challenges and struggles in my life, and every time, either win or lose, I feel like I get a little better. And kind of my passion in my life right now is making sure that I'm the best human being I can be. I'm not very good. A lot of people don't like me, but I'm trying to be better at every area in my life, and that's what keeps me going. And if you can find that passion for self-improvement, which takes some courage to kind of look at yourself, not easy process, and you work at improving yourself, I mean, that's what I think where you can get the most out of life and find true content and happiness. Is that a little deep?
No, that's exactly what we need, bro. I think we're at a point societally that is exactly what we need.
That's what we
need. We've been through 2 years of COVID and isolation, and people need healing.
It was rough.
People need healing, and anything I can do, you can do, obviously, to communicate a message of healing and fulfillment, and just being your true, authentic human being that you are, whatever that is, whatever role it involves or entails, as a community member, a family member, husband, father, wife, daughter, whatever. I think we are in that moment of time where we need healing, and understanding who we are as humans. Having been isolated,
that was tough.
So for 2+ years, man, dude, I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
What a great job. Your
on.
testimony, your story, bro. I mean, this
was easy. You just talked about me the whole time, right?
Well, that's the whole point, man. You're the guest. But no, look him up, ChadPinkerton.com. The Good Rabbit book, the Good Rabbit recovery program, man.
All right.
You got to promise to come back after you launch all this stuff. So I want to know.
All right, I'll come back.
Okay,
I'll come back. Well, you may talk to your audience. Maybe they don't want this dude back.
Nah. I'm sure they're gonna want you back, bro. A lot of pearls in here. If you like this content, if you like Chad, please do comment, share, follow, subscribe. We're on all social media channels, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at N2N Podcast, at N2N Podcast. This was a great show, bro. Looking forward to seeing you all again in a future episode of the N2N Podcast. Thanks for listening.
What's up, bro?